Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Pathetically Unfiltered. If you are new here, welcome to this channel. I do news and reactions, and if you are not new, welcome back. So today I'm going to react to the wonderful ladies at iHip News talking about Donald Trump's yet another whatever fair or state fair, whatever it is that he's involved in this time. A whole massive crowd actually walked out during his speech. Now, I'm just curious to know, why are people going to these speeches? Do you think he's going to say something different? Is it that whole insanity is repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results? Do you actually believe he's going to say something different? Because everything that comes out of that man's mouth is almost the same thing. How we're a hot country, everyone respects us, we're doing so great, we're winning all over the place. Meanwhile, none of those things are happening. And I think most of us with common sense are pretty much aware everything that Donald Trump is saying is basically bullshit for all of us. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip of what occurred on the night of whatever it was that was going on here.
Donald Trump's white trash 250-year celebration that nobody wants anything to do with happened, this kickoff last night. And here he is on video. Play the clip.
Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're respected by everybody. Nobody's laughing at us anymore.
Oh, yes, they are.
2 years ago, they were laughing. Now, we're the most respected anywhere. Think
2 years ago, they weren't laughing, and 2 years later, they are laughing harder than ever.
of it anywhere in the world.
I wonder what that's like. Just every single day you wake up and make your reality and pathologically lie. And you just create you live in a constant gaslighting bubble. I mean, when the facts are diametrically opposed to what he said, at 23%, I think they polled 36 nations, had faith in the United States, 23% globally.
Well, and I also think it tells you that he is aware that he is a global laughing stock. He is aware that he has ruined his ability to have diplomacy with NATO and other allies, that he's a terrible wartime leader. I mean, he knows this because he says this out loud, which tells me he knows. He's trying to gaslight people so that they don't know, but he knows how bad.
Do you think he knows?
I really do, because I think he is so insecure and such a victim. When he is confronted with reality, he has to lash out and lie about it, trying to convince himself. I mean, maybe I'm giving him too much credit.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say something about this. I really do. I like Angie's point of him being aware of people not liking him. I have to agree with her in that sense. I really do believe that he is fully aware people do not like what he's doing. I also think a person like him, let's just think of any narcissist that you've encountered. It doesn't necessarily have to be Donald Trump, but in your own personal life experience, think of pairing with a narcissist, whether that's a friend of yours or in a relationship that you were involved in, and just play back all of the insane things that occurred within that relationship. I mean, I can give you plenty of examples of the shit show that I was with back in 2017. There was an array of gaslighting throughout that disaster. I don't even call it a relationship. It was not a relationship. It was a literal disaster. Probably one of the worst human beings I met in my entire life. Like, my ex that I was with for 6 years, he was a narcissist. That was something, or someone, he was someone that I tolerated. I was even friends with after, until January 6th, when he was like, they calmly walked in there. I don't know what happened in that brain of his when he said that. But when you meet somebody who is just deliberately terrible and probably knows they are a terrible person and suffer with some kind of insecurity, and then they take that insecurity and try to pass it on to you. I use this I even said this on my coaching channel, which that's another channel that I need to update. I haven't done a life coaching thing in a while. But anyway, I'll give you this as an example. I was watching an episode of Storage Wars. I did not miss an episode of Storage Wars. I moved out here and I was watching an episode of that show, and he comes downstairs and he goes with an attitude, "What are you watching?" And I said, Storage Wars. It's about, people who bid on lockers who, they either abandon or they just couldn't afford to pay it, whatever the situation was going on. And he got really upset, telling me that it's not right that they're doing that to other people's property because of what happened to him. Now, what happened to him wasn't a Storage Wars situation. He was not paying his bills. Therefore, in Canada, when you don't pay your bills, they are not like here where, after a while, they just either give up or whatever the situation is. Out in Canada, the laws are very different. You don't pay for shit, they come and just take it. They confiscate it from you. And I think it used to be like that here once upon a time. Like if you didn't pay a credit card, they'll just come and take your furniture. Unless I'm wrong. I don't know. Somebody correct me if I am. But in Canada, from my understanding, that's what they do. So he basically tried to make me feel bad for watching this television show because people were bidding on strangers' things that didn't belong to them. And for a while, I bought into that concept. I felt really bad. I didn't want to watch the show. I had stopped watching it at some point. And I was like, why am I stopping something that's entertaining to me because you're playing victim because you lost all of your shit because you didn't pay your bills, because you were irresponsible. And now you're living here being irresponsible and I'm paying for you. That's why he's not here anymore, other than me hating him. But that's neither here nor there. When you think about in the bigger picture of this man standing there giving these speeches about how we're a hot country, how prices are going down when they're not going down, how we're respected from other countries, that nobody's laughing at us. Everyone is laughing at us. And he knows it. And he's sitting there trying to lie to a public saying all of these things. No one is believing it. The only people who are going to believe it are the people who are trying to grift other people so they can make money off of them.
I don't know. I mean, I could go either way on it. A part of me thinks like you hear this about pathological liars. They believe their lies. And I think there's a part of him that believes this shit because his world, his America, his friends are all of these things. 2 years ago, he was laughed at. He was the laughingstock and he was aware of it then. But is he aware of it now? When he goes to talk to the Iranians, they have hired these psychologists that pile on effusive praise to him and manipulate him. Emmanuel Macron hosts him at Versailles, which was one of his dreams, Make-A-Wish president. And so I don't know. I could go either way on it. I probably deep down, if you hooked him up to truth serum and a polygraph, he knows this. But I also think like he surrounded himself with sycophants so he doesn't have to go through a narcissistic injury. So I don't.
Even if Donald Trump is surrounding himself with yes men, the fact remains the people he's surrounding himself with are fully aware of everything that's going on around them. Grinder Mike Johnson is a perfect example of that. He is terrified because he knows come November, things are going to change drastically. And while he's sitting there trying to gaslight the public, we are not stupid. He is very well aware. Whereas Donald Trump may not be. Everyone who's surrounding Donald Trump knows exactly what could happen next. And they're probably coddling him and not telling him anything that's going on. I have to say that it's almost like elder abuse. But in this case, like, do we care? I don't even know anymore.
No, I mean, it's great. You guys in the comments, tell us what you think. And here he is. Here are the attendees leaving mid-speech because he rambles on so much. Play the clip.
Largest producer of oil and gas on earth, larger than Russia and Saudi Arabia by far combined.
The fact that they went is the grosser part.
Yeah, that's always, I mean, for me, Trump saying this stuff, it's just been going on forever. And him making an ass of himself and pathologically lying and just being a dick, like waking up and just like, I'm going to be a dick today. It's normal. I expect it. Tomorrow, we're going to have a very similar newscast to this one. Yesterday, we had something almost identical. It's the people that still live and dwell in this cultural rot that is MAGA that are more alarming to me. And then the Senate and the House, all of these Republicans that want to lecture the country on, American exceptionalism and the shining city on the hill. All of that's just bullshit. They have an opportunity to really stand up for their country and stand up for the citizenry of the country, and they choose actively to support this delusional, demented dipshit.
So now I'm going to fast forward over to the part where they talk about Sean Duffy. This is very, very important because Mr. Duffy has a misconception of how people should be living as opposed to how people are choosing to live. So I'm going to go ahead and play that clip, and then we're going to come back and discuss.
Than they do the United States as a whole, but particularly their constituents.
I completely agree with that. Okay, and here's Sean Duffy. This is just, this guy, we haven't browbeat enough. So let's dive into that. Play this clip.
Speaking of families, modern culture has told our young people that they shouldn't look for love. They shouldn't have a family. They shouldn't have kids. Instead, focus on their education, focus on their careers, focus on their bank accounts. Have a free Saturday morning and go get a venti latte with your friends at Starbucks. That will give them joy, is what culture has told them. This is the dumbest advice that they could ever get. What fills the human heart? What gives us purpose? We should look for love. Get married and have lots of kids.
Is this man fucking for real? Look at how he set the stage with all of these women up here. One holding a baby, the other one holding a little girl who probably doesn't want to be there. And you're sitting there perpetuating these lies about how it's terrible to have a weekend to hang out with your friends and that you should be having a bunch of kids. Let's continue.
Okay, so all of this is just so Handmaid's Tale, and it's so divorced from reality. It's so divorced from what the material situation is on the ground for people. You have to have a job to be able to have kids. Most Americans, unfortunately, because wages have not matched inflation, are both parents have to go to work in order to afford these kids that he's talking about everybody having. Not everybody lives in free public housing like Sean Duffy.
Right.
And it's so utterly important for women. And I'm just going to tell everybody a personal story. I was married, 2 small children. My husband had addiction problems. And if I didn't have a career, I would have been tethered and shackled to the mercy of other people. But because I had a career, I was able to mitigate the pain and suffering that myself and my children were going through while he was trying to sort himself out. In addition to something that affects Democrats, Republicans, independents, religious people, Muslim people, Jewish people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate. And had I not had my interior design career, I would have had to live off the mercy of other people. And it was that independence that allowed me to support my husband to get sober and to continue to buy baby food and diapers and pay for childcare. But I was lucky. I was the lucky one, as painful and as traumatizing as all of that was. I was lucky that I had that career to fall back on and that I had the tenacity to say, I'm not asking anybody for money. I'm doing this for my kids. I'm going to dig as deep as I possibly can. A lot of people don't have that option, and they have to go take low wage jobs. And then there's no help from the state. And then if you get help from the state, then they demonize you and they call you lazy. While really the lazy people are a lot of these people, these hedge fund guys that sit around and paperclip and staple all day, that act like they work so hard. They're not on roofs hammering on, shingles. They're not framing houses. They're not pouring concrete, real manual labor. And so this message that is coming from the Republican Party right now, and you hear it from Erica Kirk to Sean Duffy, have as many kids as you can, even if you can't afford them. It diametrically is opposed to the material situation they've created on the ground.
Jennifer Welsh sharing that personal story, I'm glad that she did share that. It just shows not everyone is perfect. We're not perfect human beings. For this person, Sean Duffy, to say, you shouldn't be out with your friends, you shouldn't be out at Starbucks, you shouldn't be out enjoying a single life and having a good time and dating or whatever, that you should be shackled up with some guy that you probably are not going to love within the next 10 years, and now you're stuck with 4 kids, that's unrealistic. And that's not good advice. I always tell people when it comes to relationships, do your pros and cons list. You're dating somebody. How is that working out for you? What are the pros for this relationship? What are the cons for this relationship? Are you dating? Is there one guy that you like more than the other? And I say guy because I coach a lot of women who are in heterosexual relationships. You can't just expect for people not to go to college, not to pursue an education, and think that they're just going to shack up with somebody and have kids, and then wonder how are they going to feed those children. I was listening to Conversational Corner live. There was a guy on that live who was talking about how he worked with school children, and 2 children that they had experiences with teachers was telling them they felt bad because like they were both strong in math. One wanted to be a scientist and they felt like their teachers were not pushing them for better excellence. These children were children of color, and I guess their teacher was white. I don't know. I'm just going to suspect. The teacher was not pushing them for the excellence in really honing in and growing what they wanted to learn. Why would you do that to a child? We should never drown a dream a child wants to pursue. If they feel a calling at that age to become a scientist, to become an engineer, if they're really good at math, we should be pushing them and not belittling them and telling them, no, it cannot be done. Go out and have children. Be at home. Like be a stay-at-home wife. That's not the encouragement a child looks for. And we have surpassed living in that type of world where we are telling people, become a stay-at-home wife. If these women that were on the stage, if that's what they want to do, if that is what makes them happy, then go ahead. But that doesn't mean that every other woman you encounter should live the same way. Because now you're taking away, the same way this teacher was taking away from these children, now you're taking away from other people who want to succeed at their dreams. We should never live in a world where we are telling women they should not pursue a dream, they should not go to college, they should not have a career. That is not the world we are living in today. And it's quite disturbing. There are women who are actually advocating for this bullshit, and they want to spread that same bullshit to other women. Don't listen to them because it will accomplish nothing. So with all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off. As always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.